Hello everyone, over the past few months we've had a range of Unmatched Marvel products hitting the shelves. From back in the day when Deadpool was released as a standalone character, through the likes of Moon Knight and Bullseye, and now we've got this latest box for King and Country. This is available now in the UK. It's been available in the US for a little bit longer, but it was just recently sent to me by Coiledspring Games to give a go and review for you, so let's jump in. I'll go through roughly how Unmatched plays, as I always do, and then I'll give you my thoughts on this particular box, as well as how it fits in with the sort of Marvel Unmatched line. So Unmatched, if you've not played it, is a card game for predominantly 2 players, though you can do a free-for-all mode, which you've got 3 characters in these boxes, so you can start straight away. You can also do a 2v2 mode. You would need, in this case, more than 1 box to be able to do that, though. Now, how this works, each character, some have a sidekick with them, some have multiple sidekicks with them. Each has their own deck and health dial though for the main character, and then you are effectively trying to play the cards from your hand to whittle the health of your opponent down. Now you're going to do that across a variety of different ways. You're going to be using attack cards, then they can use defense cards on that, and you've got effects that can trigger off of those cards, and they're kind of dialed into the characters. A quick example, in this box you've got the Winter Soldier. Now sometimes when he plays a card, because of his brainwashing, as the character in the MCU and comics etc. has had that, there is a negative effect that triggers. Often your opponent may be getting to draw a card or move after you've attacked. Now there's also scheme cards which allow you to do something a bit different, maybe for Winter Soldier, ignoring those negative effects on your cards. There's also versatile cards which can be used as attack or defense. But you are moving around this map, you have a move limit. Some characters in this are ranged, some are melee, so some need to get up close and personal, some just need to be in the same zone, and that's coloured circles that are linked together. So that's how the game plays, roughly, so you get an idea. That's kind of how the game plays, but that could actually have been any Unmatched box pretty much, not just these Marvels. The Marvel boxes do have a little extra, and that is items on the floor that you often need to either be in the right location to use to bolster your attack or defense, or scheme actions, such as in this one, a cool jetpack that allows you to jump across the board, or a laser turret that's going to do some damage to opponents in your area. They're quite cool, and let's start there. They are definitely some cool new ground items. I think in the last few boxes of this Marvel range, they've been okay, they've been there, but they've not necessarily been big and sort of inspiring. Well, I think these, well, not sort of game-changing, are very interesting and are definitely going to get shuffled into the mix, because as you get more boxes, you get more of those items, and you can share and shuffle them in between. So you're not just then stuck to 3 that are in the box. You could use none from this box, but use the map that's in this box and use tokens from the others. So that's quite a nice thing that the Marvel series here has going for it. And that's different from the normal Unmatched. And that just adds a little bit to the battlefield. Now, one thing about the Helicarrier map that I don't feel I've ever experienced with any of the other maps from the entire series, not just the Marvel line, is that there is a space on this that you can actually be blocked into. And unless you've got some kind of card that allows you to move through an opponent, you're stuck there fighting it out. And I was, in this case, stuck in that spot. We were just basically ramming down attack cards on our turn, slugging it out to see who was going. Was I going to break out? Was I going to be able to attack enough out of this corner location that I couldn't get out of? And I'd actually moved there thinking, oh, I can just move along the edge of the helicarrier. No, I can move between these 2 spaces, but I can't get out because the sort of linking space that links to the both of them, the only place it went to my opponent was stood in. So that was quite an interesting thing about the map that I've not seen in any of the other boards. Now, the board is double-sided, but you're only going to get one map. So you get the helicarrier. On one side, it's got what I would typically use, which is the coloured circles. Really easy to know who's in the same area for ranged, for card effects, etc. However, I've actually, for once, really enjoyed flipping the board over and using what I refer to as the coloured rings rather than the coloured spaces. It just allows so much of the artwork to sort of come through, but it does mean the readability of the gameplay isn't quite as high. Now, once you've played one or two games of it, it doesn't matter. But the artwork of this has really made me think maybe I can play on those ring sides a little bit more. Certainly on this map, because that artwork is so cool of the helicarrier with little bits and things on top of it. I just wanted to see the map shine through, even if it meant a couple of times it was like, oh, are we in the same area? Oh, yes, yeah, the rings match up. I find the rings just that little bit less visually snappy in terms of I can't just glance and be like, yes, we're in the same region as with the solid circles. But for this map, it's almost too good not to play on the ring side. I'd have, of course, loved for them to have had two maps, one on either side, but this range at least hasn't been doing that. For King and Country is all about the people on the front of the box. It's about Black Panther, who has Shuri. It's about Black Widow, who's got Marie Hill as the sidekick. And it's about the Winter Soldier, who has himself, and only himself, to sort of fight his cause. They are three pretty cool characters, and they've got some interesting elements to them. Black Panther is going to effectively steal cards from their opponent's deck, storing them in their vibranium suit and using them to boost. This does two things. First of all, it takes some hopefully good cards out of your opponent's deck and boosts your movement, boosts your attack, and then when you boost, you draw a card. It seems super strong. He's beatable, he has been beaten, but it feels strong, especially when you pull a card from your opponent's deck. They see what it is and they're like, no, I was really hoping that card was going to be drawn into my hand soon because maybe it's a big attack or a really good defense card or a scheme card even. And sometimes that can disrupt your opponent's plans as well as giving you a potential boost option. So really cool, although if your cards don't come out right and you don't get to do much of that taking off your opponent, it maybe feels a little lackluster. Moving on to Winter Soldier. Now, I really like the way they've balanced this character in terms of a number of his cards. Not all of the cards in the deck, but a good chunk of them have these negative effects. Right, I'm going to attack you, but that's going to allow you to move because my effects cannot be cancelled by card effects. But your opponent never wants that anyway, because they are going to be gaining from your card effects. Maybe they're getting cards, maybe they're gaining movements, they can get away from you, or just get to a vantage point that they're ranged. They can get up there and still hit me, and they're now not next to me and stuff like that. It's one of those decks where it's like, I'm doing this, I know it's going to help you though, I just hope it's not going to help you too much. So he's a quite heavy hitting character to play as. So again, feels pretty strong. Then you have, nearly said Scarlett Johansson, you have Black Widow and Marie Hill, who's an okay sidekick. That seems she's there. But Black Widow herself has these missions. They are her scheme cards. And they are scheme cards like, well, I don't think I've seen them on any of the other Unmatched characters because they have conditions. These missions, you even start with one in your hand, need you to do a certain thing. Maybe it's be adjacent to your opponent and then you can use this scheme card. Or maybe it's actually be in your starting location or your opponent's starting location. And then you can complete this mission. It gives you a cool bonus and it draws your next mission out of your deck. It's just a little bit different that I don't think has been done before. It just keeps those scheme cards interesting because they are very good schemes. They are great cards that you want to play, but because they've got that limitation, it's like, do I really want to spend maybe a couple of turns of movement to get out there to where my starting space was? If I don't complete this mission, I won't get my next one unless I draw it though. And maybe the next one's going to be that one that wins me the game. So some very, again, interesting and cool choices to be made by the player. Do I go for this mission or do I just hope to draw the next one? And again, if you're drawing too many of them and your hand's mostly those missions, all of a sudden, if half your cards have got those requirements to be played, then you've not got many options on your turn other than to do them. So choices from each of the characters. Choices from Black Panther of when to boost and draw the extra cards. When, as Black Widow, to complete those missions or, risk maybe not being able to do it for a while and hope that that good card can be played later on. And choices from the Winter Soldier character of when is it going to be a good idea for me to play this? You've not got many cards. Well, I can do this cool attack, deal a load of damage, but maybe you're going to be drawing up a defense card or something that can wallop me back on my next turn. So choices are what these characters are, and well, it's just one of the better boxes, in my opinion, for the Marvel Unmatched line. So I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this one. It's not going to change your mind on Unmatched. It plays very similar, even though these characters do feel unique. I've not seen another character stealing cards out of an opponent's deck to just store them for boost later on. I've not seen scheme cards that have requirements before, and, well, there has been some cards with negative effects, but that's not normally like the whole jam of the deck. Is you're going to play a good card for you, but it might give something good to your opponent. Well, so unique twists there from the character side of things. Cool map, cool tokens. Yeah, it's not going to change your mind. If you don't like Unmatched, if you not a huge fan of Marvel, maybe the iconicness of these characters will be lost on you, but they're still fun characters, I think. Well, are very welcome in my Unmatched collection. And this is the penultimate box. There is one more, Brains and Brawn, coming. That's got She-Hulk, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. 3 more very big hitting names. But you won't go far wrong with For King and Country. Check out the reviews of the other Unmatched Marvel or non-Marvel sets. Please do, they're on the channel. There'll be one on a box somewhere, and even I'll put the how to play Unmatched in a bit more detail so you can sort of see some cards and how you move around the map, etc. in a little bit more detail. And until next time, have an unmatched day gaming.